Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a stack of sources today that really pulled us into this whole mystery world. It centers around a coffeehouse owner right here in New York City.
Yeah, it's quite the setup. Think like unexpected crime meets upscale Manhattan.
Exactly.
And these excerpts, they drop you right into this really specific place,
Mm?
Clare Cosi's Coffeehouse, the Village Blend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's described as, this anchor in Greenwich Village,
Yeah,
kind of holding on to its history while everything around it gets, well,
a bit mall-like.
yeah, kind of mall-like, exactly. That whole contrast, old versus new, it hits you right away.
It really does. And the story kind of kicks off with this big event coming up, a society wedding.
Right.
But it's not just any wedding. It involves Claire's ex-husband, Matt Allegro.
Ah, Matt. Yeah, the sources paint him as, well, charming, definitely involved in coffee
Oh,
internationally,
yeah.
but also someone with a bit of a history, suggesting he doesn't always follow the rules.
Yeah, I saw that. Mentions of past issues like addiction stuff and that quote about vows being suggested guidelines.
Exactly. So even before things get weird, you sense Matt brings a certain unpredictability, let's call it that.
Volatility, maybe. And his fiancée is Breanne Summour.
hmm High-profile magazine editor, wealthy, trend magazine.
And the sources make it pretty clear pretty fast that she's a force and someone who's definitely made enemies.
Oh, yeah. We hear that confirmed, too. Roman Brio, the
Yeah.
food writer friend of Claire's.
Right, the informant type.
He flat out says she doesn't win popularity contests. So, yeah, makes sense.
Okay, but here's where it gets, like, immediately tense. This source material opens from the stalker's viewpoint.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, not just some vague threat. This person is detailing their methods, muddying license plates on rentals, using disguises, and their goal is chillingly specific. Kill Breanne before the wedding happens.
Wow. And does that threat become real quickly?
Almost immediately. The source says Breanne herself nearly gets hit by an SUV, like just misses her.
Okay, so not just talk. This is active, real danger.
Right. Then the perspective shifts a bit. We jump to Matt's bachelor party,
Where was that again?
the White Horse Tavern, you know, the historic one, where Dylan Thomas used to drink.
Oh, right, right. Classic village spot.
Mhm.
And the party.
Sounds like a typical New York mix. Matt's fancy international coffee buddies rubbing elbows with local types.
Gotcha. And this is where Hazel Boggs comes in.
Exactly. She shows up, and the sources are super specific. She's a lookalike, specializes in looking like Breanne Summour.
A look-alike. That's odd.
It gets odder. They mentioned she was hired through an agency for lookalike strippers.
Okay, that is something. Wow.
And it leads straight to the first big shock. Hazel leaves the party, and moments later, she's shot. Killed. Right near the Village Blend.
Oh, man.
And that's the immediate question, isn't it? Was she the target? Or did the killer think she was Breanne?
Yeah, classic mistaken identity setup. Terrible. The police arrived then, I assume.
Yep. Detective Mike Quinn shows up. He's Claire's love interest, seems like. Described as calm, insightful.
Okay.
And detectives Lori Soules and Sue Ellen Bass. There's even this weird little moment where Sue Ellen is like openly flirting with Matt at the
Wow.
crime scene.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. Adds a strange layer.
Right. And Claire, she's not just a bystander here. The sources mention she's helped the police before. Some case called Club Flux.
Oh, so she has a track record. They trust her.
Seems like it. They value her observations. Quinn even lists her skills, the 4 is: inquisitiveness, imagination, insight, and an eye for detail.
Okay, I like that. 4 is, and you see her using them right away.
Totally. After the shooting, she's watching people in the coffee shop, notes the mix of, morbid curiosity and actual concern, but her intuition, that insight thing, it tells her something felt off about the shooter's behavior. Like they weren't acting how you'd expect.
Oh, okay. And that's what pulls her in deeper, right? That feeling.
Seems like it. Okay, so murder. Mistaken identity, maybe? Target. Breanne. So who hates Breanne enough to kill her?
Well, the investigation turns up suspects pretty quickly. First one, Neville Perry.
The blogger guy.
Yeah, the prodigal chef. And his blog sounds intense, just filled with hate for Breanne.
Intense is putting it mildly. The sources mention these awful recipes using her picture, like, on a chicken. Yikes.
Truly disturbing. And his motive? Super clear. His restaurant tanked after Trend magazine exposed something.
Right. So definite grudge. And didn't he send a weird wedding gift, too?
Oh, yeah. A stainless steel meat cleaver? Subtle, right?
Not at all. Puts him right at the top of the list initially.
And Claire's friend, Roman Brio, the food writer, He kind of confirms the vibe, saying Breanne makes enemies easily. It backs up the idea that people might want her gone.
So to dig deeper, the story takes us into Breanne's world, Trend magazine.
Mm-hmm. And they really paint a picture there, don't they? High fashion designer names, fittings at fancy boutiques, the whole scene.
Definitely sets the stage. And it's there we meet another potential suspect, Stuart Winslow.
Breanne's first ex-husband.
Right. Claire sees him kind of lurking around Breanne's office near that boutique. He's described as, like, heavy-set, ex-boxer type, crooked nose.
Gotcha. And does he have a motive?
Oh, yeah. Big one. Bitter about the divorce settlement, and his anti-wrinkle cream business went bust after an interview in Trend. Sound familiar?
Very. So now we've got two really angry guys, both arguably ruined by Breanne or her magazine.
Exactly. Makes sense they'd be looked at. Then there's Monica Purcell.
Breanne's assistant, what's her deal?
The sources kind of hint she's slippery, history of undermining people to get ahead. And there's this one detail. She made a weird phone call right after seeing the wedding rings.
Okay. File that away. Anyone else?
Well, there's Nunzio, the sculptor. He's doing a piece, Lover's Spring, for the wedding reception at the Met.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does he fit in? Seems kind of random.
It's more about Breanne's way of operating. Turns out their relationship was transactional. He got perks, like nice hotel stays, stuff like that.
Ah, in exchange for coverage in Trend.
Exactly. Quid pro quo.
Okay, so that shows maybe Breanne plays hardball, uses her influence, could create resentment if someone felt shortchanged, I guess. Adds another layer.
Right. So, okay, the plot moves on. Things get even more complicated and dangerous. The wedding rings become important.
Who has them?
They give them to Roman Brio for safekeeping.
To Roman. Okay, interesting choice.
And Roman, being Roman, takes Claire on this, like, totally unexpected trip, an underground restaurant thing in Flushing.
Oh, tell me more.
Sounds wild. Sources describe it as an exotic frontier, lots of Chinese culture, details about super hot peppers, sambal belacan, all that foodie stuff.
Sounds like Roman's kind of scene. But why is this relevant?
Because during this dinner, bam, robbery, two guys with guns burst in.
Whoa.
And they're not just robbing the place, they go straight for Roman. And they demand the rings.
Ah, so they knew who had the rings.
Exactly. It connects this robbery directly back to the wedding, to the people involved. It wasn't random.
Okay, that's a huge clue. Wow. But then, the really shocking thing happens back at Trend, right? With Monica Purcell.
Yeah. Breanne's assistant, she's found dead in her office.
And at first they think.
Overdose, maybe, stress, pressure, plausible.
But
the medical examiner, Dr. Billings, finds poison. And not just any poison batrachotoxin, super exotic, comes from toxic frogs.
whoa. Okay, it changes everything. That's not an overdose. That's murder. Planned.
And Claire figures out the chilling part. Monica had this specific breakfast-delivered soy muffin wheatgrass shake.
Okay.
Claire realizes that's the exact breakfast Breanne always has, but she skipped it that day.
Oh my God. So the poison was in the breakfast.
Intended for Breanne, Monica ate it instead.
Tragic. Just awful. So the killer is still after Breanne, and they're escalating. Poison now.
Exactly. Things are getting really serious. So Claire steps up her involvement with the police. She agrees to help Mike Quinn and Sergeant Sullivan set up a sting.
Targeting who?
Yep, Stuart Winslow, the first ex-husband. They know he runs this illegal online drug business.
Our ex-global, right. Selling prescriptions offshore.
That's the one. Claire poses as a buyer.
Gutsy move. How does it go?
It works. They confirm his operation is illegal. Claire even does this quick thinking thing, pretends to take a pill, asks for water just to stall him.
Nice.
And she manages to push his buttons, get him ranting about Breanne, how angry he still is about his business failing.
So they get him.
They arrest him for the drug distribution and conspiracy in the robbery attempt for the rings.
Okay, so he was involved in the ring plot.
Yes. But here's the twist. In interrogation, he admits he wanted Breanne dead, sure. But he denies killing Monica, denies the shooting, denies the other attacks.
Oh, so he's involved, but he's not the killer.
Exactly. That's the pivot. The suspects from Breanne's world, Perry and Winslow, they were tangled up in the ring theft, maybe wanted revenge in other ways, but someone else is the poisoner. Someone else is the shooter.
Okay, so that forces you and Claire to look elsewhere entirely, if it's not Breanne's enemies.
Then maybe it's Matt's. His past comes back into focus.
Right. Those coffee contacts. What was the guy's name? Javier Lozado.
Yeah, the former Colombian commando. And the sources reveal this old story. Matt slept with Javier's girlfriend, Luisa, years ago. There was a fight.
Oof. But they supposedly made up.
Supposedly. But then there's Hector Pena, Javier's estate manager.
And what's his connection? This feels important.
It's the absolute key. Turns out, Hector's daughter, Adelina, she had a relationship with Matt years back.
Okay.
And Claire connects the dots. Adelina might have killed herself after getting Matt and Breanne's wedding announcement.
Oh, wow. Okay. That changes everything.
Completely. The motive isn't Breanne's job or her enemies. It's revenge for Adelina. And Breanne is the target because she's marrying the man Hector blames.
And the poison. But Chasedoxin, that fits too, doesn't it? Columbia, toxic frogs.
Perfectly. Ties right back to Hector's estate where they'd know about and potentially have access to that kind of thing.
And Hector's background. Military commando.
Fits the stalking, the shooting skill potentially needed for Hazel's murder.
And he could have been around Matt's events, right? The bachelor party, maybe that luncheon they mentioned, without anyone thinking twice.
Easily. And that gives us the explanation for Hazel Boggs' death. So tragic.
He was at the bachelor party, saw Hazel.
Who looked like Breanne. And the sources add this heartbreaking detail that Hazel was actually Breanne's niece. Estranged, but still family.
Oh no, her niece.
Yeah. Looked like her, admired her, wanted to make it on her own. And Breanne's sister, Rhonda Hazel's mom, her grief is mentioned. It just underlines the horrible mistake, the family loss. Hector likely mistook her for Breanne.
Devastating. Okay, so the climax must be coming, the wedding itself.
The reception, yeah, at the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Wow, high-stakes setting.
Totally. Sources mention Nunzio's sculptures there, Janelle Babcock's pastries, Claire's got her coffee station set up, all this elegance.
And then?
Claire sees him, Hector Pena, on the stairs at the Met, and now she knows the motive, the connection. Her gut just screams, he's here to finish it, to kill Breanne now.
Does she see anything else?
Yeah, a small detail. Torn wrapping paper near him, like from a gift box, maybe hiding a weapon.
Chilling. And didn't the source mention another attack attempt too? Something about strangling?
Oh, right. Yeah, during the luncheon before the Met, Breanne was actually strangled, had bruises on her neck. The sauce might have placed it a bit weirdly, but it shows Hector was getting desperate, more direct.
So he's definitely the killer. Relentless. Trying again at the Met.
Yep, that's the confrontation point. So the end of these sources, it's a mix, you know, resolution, but things are still messy.
Does the wedding actually happen after all that?
It does. Matt and Breanne get married, and Breanne, though she's clearly shaken, especially from the strangling, she shows up at the reception. There's this detail about her wearing the coffee stain from the struggle, like a badge of honor.
Wow. Tough lady. What about Winslow?
He's done. Under arrest, being interrogated for the drugs and the ring conspiracy.
And Hector Pena, the killer. Does it say they catch him at the Met?
The excerpts imply his plan is stopped, that Claire's realization leads to him being pursued, but it doesn't explicitly state his capture right there. His identity and final attempt are the climax, though.
Okay. And the relationships. How are they left? Claire and Matt.
Still complicated. There's affection you can tell, but they both kind of acknowledge it's over. Matt even says something like, Claire will never forgive him, but he does seem genuinely protective of Breanne now.
And Claire and Mike Quinn.
Definitely closer after going through all this. There's banter, but he's protective. She calls him her Rottweiler at one point.
Cute. What about Breanne and her sister Rhonda after losing Hazel?
Claire actually helps bridge that gap, apparently. Connects them again. And talking to Rhonda adds depth to Breanne. You learn about her past, rising from nothing. Makes her more human.
That's good. And the newlyweds. Matt and Breanne. How does that look?
Well, Roman Brio has this theory. It's more of a partnership, based on like mutual understanding, not deep romance.
A partnership.
But then Matt throws in this classic Matt line about wanting to keep his options open with other women, so yeah. Still complicated.
Of course he does. Some things don't change. Any other memorable bits?
Oh yeah, Madam, Matt's mother. She's got some funny lines, wants Matt in the family business. And she even teams up with Claire at one point to confront some gossip columnist who knew too much.
Huh. Unexpected alliance.
Right. And all those little details peppered throughout Janelle's pastries being a hit, the specific fancy coffees, Cote Bilouac, Esmeralda Especial.
Yeah, the paella with quinoa, pisco sours, and Genetti cookies.
Tio's sculpture, the trellis. It all makes the world feel really vivid, you know?
Definitely. It grounds the drama, makes the contrast sharper.
So looking back, we started with this threatened bride, a tragic murder.
It ended up uncovering this really dark secret from the groom's past, completely shifting the motive.
Yeah, it shows how all these crazy seemingly separate things, the wedding, the angry blog, the robbery, the poisoning, the strangling.
All connect back to one thing, revenge for something that happened years ago.
And it's a peek behind the curtain, isn't it? Even in these super polished, fancy settings, there's still all this drama, betrayal, danger.
Absolutely. You gotta look past the obvious suspects sometimes. Past actions have long shadows.
And it really highlights Claire's skills. Those four is, again, inquisitiveness, imagination, insight, eye for detail. You kind of need all that to untangle something this complex.
For sure. Not just in novels, maybe.
Mm.
Good skills for life when things aren't adding up.
So here's something for you to think about as we wrap this up. Matt and Breanne, their marriage is called a partnership based on understanding, not love.
Hmm.
Given everything that happened, the violence, the chaos, Matt's track record, Breanne's secrets, can that kind of union built on pragmatism actually last? Can it handle the storms that seem, well, pretty likely in their future?
Or is it just another deal? Another transaction in lives that seem full of them?
Good question. Something to mull over.